The greatest applause a musician can get is not an ankle or even 2 or 3 ankles. The greatest applause is silence. Absolute stunned silence. It's when after the performance, nobody says it, but everybody sits and they know that to clap or to cheer or stand up in some way will actually not add to what has been experienced, but would actually steal from it. I've been in moments like that. That's so beautiful. There's something deep about that silence. There's a ineffableness to it. There's something that we can't capture with our words, but there's a connection to something bigger. There's a deep peace that we will experience in that moment. I've been privileged to be in situations like that when after the point was made or the sentence stopped or the sermon ended, we just knew that we experienced something of God's presence, and it stirs a longing inside of us. We didn't want to move or say anything. Now, I know that all of us longs for that kind of moment. Now, I'm sure that you would love to experience that moment, that kind of peace, that kind of connection. And if you've experienced this kind of thing before, if you're one of the lucky few, then I know that you want to experience it again. But it's about more than just the performance or the moment that we find ourselves in. It's actually a deeper desire. It's not just that we want to experience those moments of excellence or that great performance. We actually long to bring that kind of excellence as well. We actually want to be part of something that's good. All people, and there's a few exceptions, but I know you are not one of them. All people want to bring good to this world. We want to be good at what we do, whether it's the way that we serve or the way that we, the product that we bring or how we help people or whatever it might be. There's something about that excellence that draws us, like that silence as applause after a great performance. Now, I want to say to you that you are someone who's able to bring that kind of excellence out of you, whether it's how you help a patient or a client or the product that you do make or the code that you write or just what you do. You are able to do that, and I'd love to help you. So let me teach you a kingdom of heaven secret. Excellence and rest cannot be separated from each other. You see, we long for those moments, we long to produce those kind of moments, but we often find ourselves so busy and we find ourselves working so hard, pursuing that dream or that excellence in such a way that we don't even think about rest. Rest becomes something that will follow after the job has been done, the project completed, or the level has been reached, or after all the mouths have been fed. But the truth is, or the problem is, that those mouths will be telling us always, they never grow quiet. They always say, you have to do more. Just do another rep. Just do another one. You can rest a little bit later. There's that and that and that and that that needs to be done still. And rest kind of fades into something that actually makes us feel a little bit guilty, if we're honest. Because even while we're resting, we're like, I have to do this when I get back to the office. I have to still complete that pressure and this pressure. It's all working on us that when we actually want to rest or take time off, we can't, because we always got this lie that we believe that we have to be busy to be meaningful. It's like we believe the feed of the enemy that says our worth is equal to our output. But in the kingdom of heaven, rest is essential for excellence. And what makes it even worse is when we are busy and then we start feeling guilty, and then we outsource our trust. Instead of placing our trust on God, we actually try to take control of what we're doing. We don't trust Him, so we have to trust ourselves. And we actually try to control, and that makes us busier because we know that we have to perform to be able to achieve and be good at what we do. It's like a catch-22. The good news is you can break out of that cycle. Now, let me help you. It will start when we realize or get to know and believe that, listen to this, rest is God's idea. This is so important. Rest is not like an afterthought. It's not like, we have to do something on the seventh day, let's rest. No, rest is God's idea, and rest for your life is God's idea. If we want to pursue that life of abundance, if we want to be excellent in what we do, we must take this to heart. Just think about this. In the culture that God established on the earth, when he matured the Hebrews, the Israelites, from the very start, He placed in the law of the Sabbath, which was once a week, but also every couple of years. So in His social planning, in God's social planning, rest is essential. And think about this. Even before there was a Hebrew nation or a Christian faith, when He created Genesis 1 and 2, He makes man, He makes Adam, and then he gives him this task. He says, you've got to subdue the earth and be fruitful and multiply. He gets a job description, if you will. That was given to him on day 6. So Adam in Eden, in perfection. Think about Adam, right in the beginning, even before there were a Hebrew nation or a Christian faith. When God created man, He gave him a job to do. So think with me. On the 6th day, God created Adam, and He gave him this job: work this garden, extend this garden, be fruitful. But what happened on the 7th day? God rested. So Adam, in perfection, before the fall, got a job, something to do, but it started with rest. There's something so significant to that for me. Yes, we've got something to do. Yes, we desire that excellence, but there's a holy rest that we need to start in and stay in, even though we get busier and busier. So we have to believe that truth, that rest is God's idea for your life. When He led His people into the promised land, and for our conversation, coming into that abundant life that Jesus promised us, God calls it rest. Hebrews chapter 4 tells us that when He led the Israelites into the promised land, into their abundant life, He said they should enter His rest. We have to know this, and you have to believe it as well. That's the first step to break out of that cycle. The second truth that you have to take into your life and know and believe is this: in the kingdom of heaven, rest is not doing nothing. That's very important. Now, there is moments when we need to sleep, or when we need to just physically rest, get away. That's good, and I'm not talking about that. But there's a misconception that the enemy feeds us that if we really want to rest, then we should do nothing. We should just sit and let God do everything. Now, the truth is, rest in the kingdom is focused connection with the Creator. Think again about Adam. First day that he's alive, he gets the assignment, and then the very next, maybe the first full day that he's around, he spends with God in the Garden of Eden. So for you and me to live from rest means it's not about not doing the work, although yes, we can talk about that. It's actually about being intentional with focusing on the Savior. It's about getting to know Him better. It's about being intentional to just breathe and just be with Him. To actually exercise our faith muscle. What do we believe about the finished work of Jesus? Was what He accomplished, the salvation that He brought, the gospel, is that good enough to not just sort out the sin issue, but actually to lead me into that abundant life? In other words, to help me live the life that I have to live, whether it's building a company or pursuing some dream or raising a family or whatever it might be. You see, if we can grow our trust muscle, a muscle that says, God, I trust you. I know that I've got so much to do, but I trust you. I'm going to take moments to just focus on you, even though it doesn't make sense. And even though in the beginning, you might constantly have your thoughts wandering to the tasks. Train yourself to say, God, I just want to focus on you in these moments. Here's a very, very helpful activity that you can do to help you in this. Again, jumping back to Adam, when God created him, it says He formed his body and then He breathed into his nostrils and he became a living soul. Just stopping and taking a deep breath, if you can, through your nose, helps us to focus on the giver of life. Just like Adam on that first day received life through his nostrils, when we breathe in, it's a prophetic act to say, God, I want to trust in you. It doesn't make sense that I'm not thinking about my business or my assignment or my task or the next thing that I have to do. I'm just going to trust you now. I'm just going to focus on you, be intentional about just shooting a prayer or two, having a conversation with the Savior. Or maybe just enjoying His presence. Maybe thinking about a worship song or singing it even. You know, Psalm 65, verse 1 in the Passion says, God, to you, even silence is praise. You see those moments when we take that breath and focus on the Savior. We're actually worshiping Him. That's a great part of rest. So I want to encourage you. In this week that lies ahead of you, especially if you feel that you are so busy, you long for that excellence, but there's so much happening, be intentional to prioritize moments of rest. Now, it could be longer, like Jesus modeled. You know, He often not just only took moments, but took extended times of intentional rest. But even if you just take that short moment, a minute, 5 minutes a day, and you take that breath and you start thinking only about Him, you will really see such a beautiful change in your life. Firstly, just by doing that, your health will improve. Your health will get better. That's so beautiful. God designed our bodies to respond in that. There will be less anxiety and stress in your life because we cannot sit with God. We cannot focus on Him, be face to face with Him and not experience His peace. Your connection with God will increase. So even later on when the days do get super busy, you'll be more aware of His presence. These are wonderful benefits that will come to you. And what will also happen is, when you practice holy rest, is that you will move closer and closer and closer to that level of excellence that will be more than just an applause, but will be celebrated with just a stunned silence. Besides all that, rest is also a great way to protect your heart. It's becoming more like Jesus, because He modeled perfect rest. He modeled living out of rest at all times. And it's possible for us, it's possible for you to not just come in and out of rest, but actually to stay in it and to live in it as long as you walk this earth and even beyond that. So I encourage you, be intentional. Take that moment and take that deep breath. Connect with God and ask Him, help me to stay in this place for the rest of my life. I want to again say thank you for watching this video. I really appreciate that. Thank you for helping us grow this channel. We really appreciate it. I want to take a moment just to say, man, it's really great that you support us, and we really hope that as you do, you will grow and you will start walking into that abundant life. Because remember, you were created for an abundant life.